Well, it's another Wednesday. I know I've been pretty inconsistent recently with posting videos, but honestly, just due to a personal state of mind, it's been pretty hard to be motivated recently. But I'm working on it, and I do continue to enjoy putting out videos. I also put out a pretty sick Loba video recently on my TikTok if you want to check that out. I've been enjoying doing these little TikTok videos because it's fun to do a quick 1-minute compilation and then throw a banger of a song underneath it. Anyways, this week we've got a couple bug updates. We're keeping the party going this week. A new Caustic Lore event, maybe. And one big piece of news as to how the game can really change. I'm saving that one for last, so if you're excited about that most of all, go ahead and jump towards the end there. Side note, non-news related. Anyone else really missing World's Edge? I wish they would go back to the 3-map rotation. You know, I do really like Kings Canyon in its current state. I like Olympus a lot, but I think World's Edge is always going to be my favorite. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump on in. We'll start with the event. The event is going on for an extra week to help people get those collection points for those free collection packs. If you haven't received them yet, now's a good time. It's really easy to knock out 1,000 points in a day. This also means we get to enjoy Locked and Loaded for another week. I really like this mode, the loot pool is great, dropping with the Mozambique is fantastic, and the pace of play is super nice. I did actually play one round yesterday of just basic pubs before the event refreshed, and man, it felt a lot slower and almost clunky. It's going to be hard going back to normal gameplay all the time after the event ends, but more on that in a bit. Next we have some bugs. Everyone's favorite, there's always going to be some bugs. With the event and battle pass, even some skins weren't textured in the first person. If you're in third person or a friend was looking at you, the skin looked fine, but in first person as you're playing, it was the standard matte, gray, untextured, unfinished skin. There is good news, everyone. That should be fixed now. Some comments were saying it wasn't fixed for them, so have you noticed that it's all fixed, or are you still having issues with it? Hopefully the servers are a bit more stable for you now as well, as it looks like they worked on that too. I know it doesn't need to be said because everyone's saying it all the time, but just in general the servers need a lot of work. Hopefully this maintenance and stability will help patch things up for the short term. Next bug. Some players have lost all their cosmetics. This seems to be an uncommon issue, and people on Reddit have reported EA help is more like EA no help, but Ryan confirms here that they're looking into it, and hopefully those players are able to get their cosmetics back. I can't imagine losing everything like that, especially if you've been playing since launch. It may just be a digital skin, but there really is some kind of personal attachment to them. Nothing nicer than having your own customization on weapons and legends. I personally feel weird, as kind of a side note here, when I pick up someone's weapon from a box and it's their skin and charm on it and not my own. I immediately go to the reskin with my own cosmetics. So I can't imagine what it'd be like going back to a base skin. But we'll keep you posted as this develops. Next, we've got Caustic Lore. The screen cap and video, it's everywhere right now, so I won't post it specifically, but Caustic is appearing on the load screen right now, and he is in Crash Site. If you go there, you can also find a giant container with a data pad next to it. The data pad has a recording from Caustic talking about chemicals. Possibly the chemicals in the water, possibly the chemicals in his gas. As the giant container seems to be filled with the contaminated water though, my guess is the former. Caustic was kind of teased during Pathfinder's Fight Night event, and on top of that, with this lore, I feel like we're headed towards a Caustic Lore event. Is it going to be a collection event or just a standard lore event like Bloodhound and Voidwalker? My first instinct is that it's just going to be a lore event. We're coming hot off a big collection event here, so that's my feeling on that. My fear is a possible Caustic event concludes. As that concludes, we're going to be sitting the rest of the season with no events, as we typically only have 2 events per season. So that would be about 50 days with no events if it comes right after this collection event, which it's already being teased, so it's got to be pretty soon afterwards. and that would be brutal. But actually, we may get one sooner than that, as we don't have any new comics until later in March. So we might get another patch before then. Speaking of, it is kind of weird the format for the comics right now, that we have 3 now and then the rest later. But I'm sure story-wise it makes sense, and I like that they're not tied to chests anymore. But waiting a month for the next comic is brutal. I may have to get Pathfinder's Quest in the meantime to help me through the story drought. I've been meaning to get it, but I haven't been able to yet. And maybe they have Fit Split though, because if we do get more Caustic Lore, it'll be part of the next few issues in the comic, and maybe that'll tie in. That would be interesting to have the comic change dynamically as the season goes on. Okay, now the really fun bit of information, the one that the piece I've been looking forward to talking about, and I was really excited to see. I'm putting up this comment by Daniel Klein in 3, 2, 1. Now, I pulled this from a Reddit post giving feedback about the Locked and Loaded event. Hopefully that puts it a little more context for you. I've honestly really only seen positive things about this event, and I know I love it myself. Basically, the Reddit post was talking about having the default mode in Apex be Locked and Loaded, and this was Daniel's response. It is being considered, it looks like. This would really change a lot of the base mechanics of the game, so I'm sure they're looking at so much different feedback and data before making any determinations, and I'm sure it wouldn't be for a while yet. But as we all know, Respawn likes to use limited time modes to test gameplay changes or character changes. This is how we got the permanent Evo shields and replacement for as a replacement for the standard shields before. That was a huge change at the time, and I think the game is better off for it. As Daniel said here though, there seems to be so much overwhelming positive feedback that it really does seem like it could be a change coming soon. He does have a point about the loot loop though, but honestly it's so much nicer to be able to loot 1 or 2 towns and then go into fights prepared instead of having to loot a handful of areas because all you're finding is gray shields and attachments. The pace of this game mode is absolutely more enjoyable, and it lets me focus on aspects of the game that I like more instead of running around for 50% of the game with all great gear still. I think though there would have to be changes to the ring and then the overall time limit of the match, because you're finding, I think, at the end of round 1 that you really only have half the squads, maybe sometimes less, and I think a 20-minute game, a 15-minute game is not going to last that long, and I think round 1, round 2 ring damage is going to need to be increased to help compensate, if anything, for that. What do you guys think about this mode and the possibility of it becoming the default game mode? Let me know in the comments below or on Twitter @HiranaMan. And that's it for the week, everyone. I'll try to get out a video next week with more news, but in the meantime, follow me on Twitter @HiranaMan for updates as they happen. And in the meantime, keep it funky, keep it fresh, and most importantly, have a fantastic Wednesday, y'all.